I'm Andra, and this is Lorilet Monegro, and we are Soul's Code. So I asked her tonight what she wants to talk about. She said, I don't know, talk about whatever you want to talk about. So we're going to
We always
talk.
do.
I know. So I want to talk about expectations, you know, because I think we all in life have a certain amount of expectations of where we want our life to progress to, how we expect people to treat us in relationships, the law of reciprocity, all these different things that we have expectations for. That if you know you open the door, someone says thank you. you know, just things, just basic things in life that we expect, and I'm one of those people that are always noticing what I'm noticing. Like I spend a lot of my life people watching, because I get paid to um observe and think critically about situations in my environment, right? So I'm very tuned into the environment, and some of the things I'm seeing are just like, wow, it's not even a good reflection, that I see around me, and they say what you see on your exterior world is a reflection of yourself. I'm not that crazy busy, busy, busy. I see all these people busy, 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 and it's frightening to me that the amount of people I see on, because I expect to see people calm and happy and joyful. And when you see these people that are always like this, that even when they should be relaxed, they look like this, it's concerning for me. I expect to see people enjoying more of their life instead of, you know, always having to be on, always having to work, always having to do things. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I noticed that everybody's too busy. Everybody's too busy to say good morning. Everybody's too busy to, have those conversations with people in their real life. They're always with the phone or the computer. And it's sad because I think we're getting, we talk about how disconnected we are. We've had that conversation from society, but I feel like people are getting further and further away, and that we really need to come together more as a community to help each other and build something substantial for our futures, right? Because if we look at what that's doing to our body, that on, it's not going to last. I project that the life expectancy is going to plummet, right? That we are going to um we won't be living to those. It's great that they have all these things to keep us alive, but we won't be living any quality of life because we're destroying our nervous systems, you know so and I expect that when I hold the door, yes, that someone says thank you or good morning or something, and not just feels like it's you know, they're entitled or it's my obligation to do so. But people have lost that general, um, you know, I don't know, personability. I don't know what a good word is for that, but people are just not really people oriented. And what's baffling is they're all out there working with people. So how do you work with the public and not be personable? It just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but it just doesn't make sense to me you know I've worked with the public my whole life, and I think that you have to be personable. You have to be, you know, some days when you go to work and you could be having a really crappy day, but you can't go into your job and take that out on other people because it's not their fault, right? Um, so you do have a responsibility to people that you interact with every day to be personable, to be friendly, to be, a good human being, to be kind. So, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts?
Well, I think you're speaking in terms of, the way you're phrasing it, um, you're looking at it from the emotional side, but I'm thinking more as I hear you speak about the social aspects of it, right? When we talk about the social pragmatics of a person and how when a person is able to be oriented, right, to people, time, space, and they're aware of, where I'm at, who I'm with, the context of that interaction, then their behavior would show up differently. Unfortunately, because I think we are being so bombarded, right, with attentional deficit causing stimuli. The brain, the human brain on itself, right, without any type of booster, such as you hear me kidding, but it's not kidding, a neuronal type of booster, like a neural link that aids in us being able to be as fast as artificial intelligence is, right? So implanted in us to be able to do all of these multitasking things that we're doing that keep us um, unaware and that keep us mindless, not mindful, and that keep us highly distracted. So that will show up as an attentional deficit because now you're demanding the output um, of the brain is just not there for speed purposes. The rate of speed is just we can't because we're not robots, and we're not at least for now we're not merged with the two. But I think that that's the direction we're going. And I think that life expectancy, will be redefined because I think the issue is that you're considering things from a lens as if things are going to stay as they were in terms of the way we relate. But the way we relate has been changing. Now you can go to a machine. The machine doesn't care for you, is not emotional in terms of how you feel, if you like it, if you didn't like it, if anything. And I see that that's now also transferring into other types of social areas, which is why you probably see what you see and observe it, because your lens, meaning what shaped your upbringing, was not what it is currently. So there's this generational gap, if you will, even though at least the best part of this is you're able to be a witness to that change. But for our new up and coming generation, our children that are growing up, this is the norm. They do not have a reference point from having been brought into a different place, right? Like I was talking to my daughter, I was like, you realize I grew up, there was no Instagram, but that's not her reality, right? So it's like, what? It's like weird. And so this is happening pretty gigantic steps, faster and faster each day. And the boost that AI is giving it is going to continue to give us a lot of socially awkward. I'm going to say the word awkward, but it's not
It is
awkward. It's
awkward.
actually it's awkward to our lens, but for the kids, this is normal. They're being now used to doing a lot of transactional stuff that is robotic or artificial intelligence based, right? They're not used to the things the way we were, like something as simple as washing your hands. You go now to the bathroom, and usually most things have a sensor. So you don't have to touch it, but when I grew up, that was not the case. You have to hold it, you have to whatever, or have the two and let the water merge and hot and cold so you can get a medium. They don't know that. They're like, we don't do that. You know.
Yeah, but I think it's making us into functional idiots. Dysfunctional
Well,
idiots is more like it. I think that it's really
to
setting
take
us
us
up,
over.
but it's setting us up to be, when you look at artificial intelligence, like look at the old show, the Jetsons, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's not where we're going, to live in this happy place where things are like easy. um it's, I think the effect that it's having us on us socially is going to dampen us. It's going to stop our growth in other ways. So even though
Agree.
we are moving ahead exponentially with the artificial intelligence, which if used correctly is not such a bad thing, but maybe it's because of the way people are using it. Like, if you turn on Facebook or any of these platforms, you're going to see 10 new chat GPTs every day. And everybody just feels like, oh, I don't have that one. I need to get that. I need to get ahead. I need to get ahead. But
Yeah.
it's making people feel like if they don't have all these things, they're going to get left behind, maybe in their business if they're not using the most current things. But you can put a cartoon with a note and people will still have that emotion evoked, right?
Right.
So you don't need all those things to evoke an emotion. And I think it's just setting a very bad
Mhm.
precedent, because first it was coming, then it was here, and then there's this model and this model and this model and this model. Um, I created my own.
Mhm.
I didn't buy all those things that are out there, and I use it for certain things that I like, right? I know nobody else is using it because I created my own, so nobody else is feeding it. It's all stuff coming out of my head and my conversations with it, right? Um, but um, I I'm not trying to move quicker and faster and stuff like that, but there are things that I want to know and I need those answers for, right? Or it does save time 100%. But
Mhm.
what are we saving time for? To get online and have another conversation, or because it's just the way that it's being using. Everything has become so business oriented everywhere you go. Like you see 13-year-old kids selling Bitcoin, online, trying
Crazy.
to, like, be coaches and stuff like that. And I'm like, what's going on in this world?
Mhm.
And I think it's great that people want to start something for themselves, but I just think there's too many flashes, too many flashes, too many flashes, and that we really are disrupting our nervous systems, that it's moving too fast for people to enjoy the beauty of it. Because ChatGPT, Meta business, all these new things that they come out with, Meta even has its own AI, right? All these things are great if you take the time to understand them, learn the new models, what their capabilities are, how they can help you in life, in business, and stuff like that. Not where you're just constantly moving to the next. This one has stories. This one has text to stories, videos, this, that, and then this one can sell to clients. You don't even need to show up anymore. I mean, I just think it's gotten a little out of control out in the market, where if you just want to say good morning to a friend in Messenger, drop them a quick chat, they automatically assume that you're trying to sell them something, because
Mhm.
that's what the whole market has become. It's so everybody's got their guard up, and
Mhm.
there's no real social going on. Even though they're all social platforms, there isn't any social platforms. And if I say good morning to someone, I do not expect to have my head bit off, because they're having a rough day and they're screwing around with all these apps. And I'm like, whoa, what's up, girl? You okay? Slow down. What's up? So I just I see so many really good advantages to having the ability to maybe do research in 5 minutes, especially for me. Like I'm a nurse, everything I do is evidence-based practice, right? I do a lot of research. So f for me, I think that it's a great thing that but the other side of it is that the accuracy of ChatGPT is not 100% either,
Mm,
right? So if you're doing research, you still have to check that research because it's not 100% accurate, right? It's scrolling maybe millions of different places to get that information. Some of them are legitimate, some of them are not, right? So, because it's a machine, but it's only as good as the feeder, right?
absolutely.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, you can't, you know, put in lemons and expect that lemonade is, definitely going to come out because it doesn't understand how to interpret that data that you just gave it, you know. Um, if you say, here's some lemons, make me lemonade, you'll get the word lemonade. So you have to be very you really have to be better at inputting the data you want, like with any processor, right? Our brain is
Hmm.
a processor too, right? So
Hmm.
um I don't know. I'm just bewildered at everybody's need for speed. Now, if you told them, that $1 million was on the corner, or the best, their soulmate, or you know, the exact recipe to lose 50 pounds this month, I don't think they would move so quickly because they're so involved in this. They wouldn't say, okay, I need that new recipe. Okay, I need that. But people have a fear of being left behind. And that's kind of the message out there. And that's what really worries me, that if you're in business and you don't know these new tools, that you're going to be left behind, right? So and I think that's a sad way to represent future technology. Like, get with it or get lost, right? Because it's not for everybody. And I think that people who choose not to use it can still get their message across very well.
Well, it depends on what the rollout in society will be, right? If you consider that basically we are being trained to the AI. We really think we're the ones training AI, but I really see it differently. I see it that is the opposite. I see that AI has been around for at least 50 years. It's just has reached now us to the masses at this point. But when you consider like Central Intelligence Agency, and when you consider all the technology, like to fly the Concorde or to have the NASA and space shuttles and all these different things that have been happening, I just think that we are just being exposed to a very, very minuscule component of a lot of data that has been known, like GPS. When you consider that NASA goes up with the rocket and from all the way up there, okay, they can see all kinds of things with the global positioning. And I think that we are just kind of being fed that this story of this, and I think it's totally the opposite. We are now these testers of a lot of different things that they're training us in. And I think what the future will be is that where you have human beings that you talk to and engage, cashier and all that, and all these different people, you'll see robots or you'll see machines and you scan things and you walk out the door. Because if people become very apprehensive to the robots, I think because we haven't been desensitized enough to that presence. People have an aversion to actually seeing somebody that wants to look like them. I think that this is why it hasn't been well received. But if you have the same thing and it's distinctively not human looking and it's a box and you go into that box, then the human doesn't feel threatened. So I see something else coming along. I mean, I forgive me for being like this, but I consider myself in many ways visionary and, or prophetic, if you will, in that sense, when I see these things. And and the reason why I'm saying it is because I think that that has been one of the blockages that has halted or slowed the process to this point in time because of our readiness to actually accept it and receive it hasn't been there. But I think it's going to continue with the new generation because they have been so, I'm going to put quote, liberated to the point that I'm not sure if they're aware of their identity sometimes, right? Like people from older times, were probably more fixed in our mindset. And that included also the idea and concept of identity. Whereas the new generation may very well be great saying that they are a robot, and be fine, right? Not the older people. The older people are going to tell you, no, I'm not, or no, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. And so I think that there are many things happening that are happening fast and they're happening with very deliberate intent. And I think that we gotta like stay focused. And the invitation I personally would say to people is spend more time within. I personally, that's how I ground myself. I can't be distracted by 500,000 things that are going to come out there. Do the opposite. I go, okay, enough for today. And I kind of shut myself away from all that and find Lorilet. Like I work with me. I,
Yeah, yeah.
you
But
know,
that's the way to be. I'm the same way. But I
I
think that a lot of people aren't considering what this means for privacy either.
don't think so.
I, I don't think that they realize what this artificial intelligence means for that privacy
Mm,
and how quickly they can be duplicated. So, I did a video the other day and it had my face in it, and it was very easy to create a clone of myself.
right.
And I wrote that on the post. I said, I was very surprised to see how quick it was to clone
Hmm.
me. So, and you have people like stealing accounts from a business sense. You have people stealing accounts on Facebook and all these places all the time. Now we're giving people fuel to have as ammunition to help them do that, right? Because if I can clone myself in seconds and I'm not some AI expert, then so can everybody
Yeah.
else, right? So
Yeah.
I think that our privacy is in jeopardy.
Hmm.
And I think Uncle Sam's doing a little bit more than watching. I think
Oh
they're
no.
listening. They're
I,
listening too, girl.
yeah, I think
Um,
they're doing everything.
so I think that I think it's placing us at risk, and I think that this distraction is just therein.
Hmm. Well, think about
Because
the concept of
if you're
divide.
not aware, but if you're not aware of your surroundings and you're so distracted with all these things, that makes you a very easy target. And
Hmm.
I think that people have to back up a little bit and be more aware of the tools they're using, how they help, how they could affect them in other ways, and and just be careful. So that's what I expect. I expect people to have the common sense to be careful and to take the time to learn what they're using, the pluses, the risks and the benefits, and to be safe. You
Hmm.
have people out there marketing AI apps so that will teach you copywriting, how to market to people's pain points. Should you be really marketing to people's pain points? You know what I mean? Because you're going to get a sale. is that really the human thing to do? I don't know. So I think that the more of these so-called advantages and advancements that come along, the less human we become.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very sad day for the human condition. And I think we're almost there. I think we're almost there.
I think we're there. I think the difference is that we have a gap in terms of the different lenses and different core values and belief systems that are holding the different strata points in society. But I think we're there. I think we have people that are perfectly fine not interacting with humans at this point in time. I think they're at this point in time, there are tons of people that exist. They rather have a plastic doll for a boyfriend or a girlfriend and relieve themselves. I think we're in a point in society right now where it is true, where you have people
I thought about
that
that. I said, she's probably right.
there are people right now who do not believe that creation has anything in it that is magnificent or majestic coming from outside of this world. They really believe they are capable of creating the air, the trees, the sea, and the stars, and the moon, and everything else. So you have a lot of interesting things happening, and that is the way that you do what we call divide and conquer. You divide all of the knowledge base, all of the understanding, break up people's identity, and pretty soon it's like you're dealing with mad people, crazy people, literally, that don't know
But
who they are.
we're also taking away those moments where, like I write a lot of books and I see people out there advertising AI, write your book in, a half an hour.
It's
And
crazy.
what,
Even with AI. That's crazy.
but what kind of message is that sending you? Because
I don't know.
when I complete a book and I've told a story and I feel like I've gotten that message out, there's such a peace that comes over me because I took the time to create it and tell that story, right? I don't believe I could get that in a half an hour with an AI.
No.
But I feel good. I feel valued. I feel like achieved almost, right? Um, and I think we're taking that away from people, the ability to learn and to really escalate and elevate themselves and to learn those things or to be authentic in what how they put together. I mean, writing a book can be a beautiful experience, right? And putting your thoughts down on paper and sending that out into the world, that stays, right? So do you want to not have it be your voice? I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. You want it not to be your words, then what's the point of doing that? Because it's not your legacy that you're creating. So I think we're taking away some things that are very important that do help with self-esteem, that do help you reach your goals and stuff. And
Mhm.
I wouldn't get like, aha, I finished it, like bully on me if I did it using something else, right? Um, I don't know. But it's very sad for me where we're at in society today. It's very sad.
It
I've
can be. It could also be very exciting, right? Because,
Well,
yeah,
it's sad how I see people changing and withdrawing from society. Because I think a lot of people were already withdrawn, and the
Mhm.
number of people that are withdrawing from society is just growing in number, right? So then we're going to be the sickest population, right? Not just physically, because now we are restructuring that into an emotional component as well, right? That emotionality that you were talking about before. All of that ties into that fast pace. It doesn't just affect us on a physical, it does affect
Mhm.
us on emotional, it does affect us on a spiritual, because you're still reaching and reaching and reaching and reaching for things outside of yourself, and you're not tapping into who you are and why you're here and why it's important to have these conversations and be a good human. And I don't know. So any last words on why we should go in?
Well, well, no, I mean,
Go
you just
in.
opened up a whole new thing that probably we would have to do a whole show on it. But I'm thinking as I'm listening to you about, our power when we are able to engage in reflection, metacognition, and we're able to create from a space of creativity and love as opposed to reactivity. And so the outputs, the outcomes that we generate when we are centered and we're grounded and we're well regulated and we're clear on our core values and belief systems would not necessitate so much from an artificial intelligence standpoint, but rather would look within and be like, what do I want to offer? What have I experienced? But that requires an awareness of that which you are experiencing to begin with. And because people are so now busy with other things, I'm not going to judge them as good or bad because, you know, I don't know context of where these things are happening. But I think that is critical for all of us to consider, what we decide to believe is valuable. Because if we discredit ourselves and we help attack our own intellect by not allowing it to express itself and robbing it of the opportunity to be a co-creator of the life we are having, then we are in essence killing a part of ourselves. And that is not anyone else's doing, but it's our lack of awareness. And so we would pay the price at all these levels, not only emotionally, not only spiritually, not only mentally, not only physically. It would be a process of self destruction where we wouldn't even know how we actually were weaponized.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this, right? So expect what you expect because that's why so we have those expectations. We have to know where they lead, whether we have good expectations or bad expectations. And I just want to let you know that I am in no way, shape, or form condoning AI or saying that it's not good. I'm just telling you that I think this is my opinion only. You
Yeah, all
need
of these are opinions.
yeah, that you need to use caution in some of these things that are out there. If they can check it, if someone, I was watching something the other day, and um, he was showing an example of how he has Chat GPT checking his emails. So now that becomes, so if it's not something that he created for himself and he's just using himself, those conversations are now public, used as reference. They're not private anymore. So I'm just saying, be careful what you put out there, how you use things. Always be mindful of your privacy. Things you don't want out there, don't put out there, not
Mhm.
in chat or anywhere else. Just be respectful of what you're doing out there, and honor who you are. Right. So that's enough. That's enough. I think we always give them so much to think about, right? Like as we get together and we have all these conversations. But they're things
Hopefully,
I think that people think about, and I can't believe that we're the only two wondering where this is all going. So
I
um,
can't believe it either. That would be weird that we're the two inquiring minds over here.
I know. So, but we think a lot alike. So we're just having these conversations because they're things that people need to know, because you have 13 and 15-year-old kids using these for, other things, and they probably shouldn't be using them for.
Hmm.
So, so we need to be aware,
Yeah,
do
that's
you
true.
have safety on your, these machines, right?
Mm.
just be mindful. So we want to thank you. I am Anjanette, and this is my good friend Lorilet Monegro, and we are so good. And we want to thank you for joining us. And if there's anything you'd like us to talk about that you're interested in hearing our view more on, feel
Yeah,
free.
topic.
Yeah, feel free to write in. We'd love to do that conversation for you. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night.
Ciao.